So welcome guys to this new video. So in this video we will be covering JSON parsing, how we can parse JSON array to display the UI and to take any action. So ultimately in this video we will not be going to talk about what is the JSON string. I am assuming if you already know about JSON. So JSON string is just a format as you have seen with the XML format. XML is also a way to exchange messages, just is the XML is too heavy as compared to JSON. Okay, so JSON object in the mobile domain you have already heard many times, like we have to parse JSON objects, right? So in this video we'll be covering, what we are covering is we are going to read the JSON response from the remote as well as JSON file from this local asset also. Now how we will approach this. So I have highlighted this approach. We will be going to create two stateful widgets and create navigators to go to this individual screen, and on those individual screens we will be going to read the JSON and display the UI. Some UIs will be there, like list UI will be there, where we are going to read the JSON and parse it and display it in the form of UI perspective. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start with the JSON parsing. Okay, so here I have highlighted this. So let's go to quickly move to our project. So here it's a clean slate. I have removed all the comments and all the things. So here I am creating a button. So we'll be creating a two buttons which will take us to different routes. So for saving the time, I have already created this, so I have saved it here. Okay, so here you can see local JSON, and I again copy this same widget. Okay, so paste it here. Let's add some space here. Again create the same button. Okay, here just read the text, read remote JSON. Okay, remote JSON. So just quickly test if everything is working. Clear it out. See local JSON, and when I press remote I can see remote JSON. Okay, so now our click events are already handled. You can see this is the text button widget. Here we have applied styling to it, and here I have added child to it. Child is nothing but a text. Okay, so now we have to create two different routes here. Okay, so just first we will create those two routes, then we will go with the JSON parsing. Now let's create it here. Local small letters, local JSON screen dart. Okay, new file, remote JSON screen dart. Okay, so here is our main screen, and here is our local and remote JSON. So we'll be creating just a basic UI, then we'll quickly move to JSON parsing. So here I've already installed the plugin, so it will give me a hint. So we'll be creating a stateful widget, pressing tab. So here we can say local JSON screen, local JSON screen widget, or you can remove the widget. Press escape. Okay, now go to remote JSON and create stateful widget again. Remote JSON screen, press escape, and so here our two routes are ready. We just have to copy something so that it will look something beautiful. So we can add a bar, at least only a bar for now. Okay, remove this extra return. We can give this for hard-coded local JSON. So our first route is ready. To save time, I think we can copy this. No need to write again. Remote JSON. Okay. Now our both our routes are ready, or both navigation screens are ready. Now we have to connect it. So just first let's connect it, and then we will quickly move to parsing. Okay. So here I am going to add navigators. Navigator.push. See, it is taking context and material page route as a second argument. If you can see material page route, so we are going to add material page route. Okay, it is again expecting a argument here. First let's import it. So here we will add our local JSON screen. Okay, just close this a bit so we get more space here. Okay, why navigator is not imported? So and here also we will cover the same thing. Here we will add remote local JSON screen. Okay, and this is the second button. So on both this route we have connected the remote JSON screen, and on the click of first button we have created local JSON screen. Both the screen can be navigated. You can just let me refresh it. Okay, now let's see if it is working. Okay, local JSON and remote JSON both are working. Okay, so now we have created both this route. So just let's start with how we can create the JSON from so for the first part we will be going to read from local JSON. Okay, so let's create one folder, and inside that folder we will going to create a JSON file. So assets, and inside that asset we can add new file, let's say photos. I will going to come back on this how we can fill this. So this is empty file. Okay, so now we are going to add this JSON. Okay, so let's copy up to 10 or 12 records. This much is fine. This is 10 to 6 to 7 records. Okay, so now we have created a JSON file manually. So this is array. If you can observe, saving this, so this, if you can observe, this starts with a square bracket. Okay, so what this suggests is this is an array. Why array? Because it contains multiple number of same records. As you can see here, there are many records. It's not a single entity, it's a collection of all these objects. So that is why it starts with this square bracket symbol. If this starts with square this one. So this is a object, JSON object you can say, but here we are starting with square bracket, so it is a JSON array. You can call it JSON array because it's a collection of all the objects. Okay, so here we have our sample file ready. So how you can read this sample JSON from the assets? So first we have put this as a JSON file in assets. Now we have to connect this and let our Flutter project know that this is a local assets file. You can see here this is YAML file where we put this, where we will going to connect all this JSON files. Here we will going to tell Flutter project that here is my location, here is the location of my JSON file. So I have folder name is assets and then photos.json. You have to carefully add only 2 spaces. Okay, if you add 3 spaces it will not work. Okay, so Flutter VS Code, if you press tab it will automatically give 2 spaces. Okay, this structure is hierarchy is very much important because it's a YAML file. It will not read if you add additional spaces. Okay, so now what we have done till now is we have created a local JSON file and we have put in asset and we have told Flutter project that here is the location of my JSON file, and now you just have to read it. Okay, so we are going into this local JSON file, and here what we will do, here we will going to add a logic to read first. Okay, so let's before going for UI, let's create it init state. Okay, so let's init state. So here this init state, if you go by the lifecycle method, init state always initializes the things, so it is called for the first time. Okay, so let's create it. First we'll going to add one method like the read JSON. Okay, now we are going to create this method read JSON. Let's add it at the top only. So I will explain you why I am writing this. Okay, this is how method is written in Flutter. Why it is giving me error? Because its type is future. So what future tells is, if you come from JavaScript, you know future, promises and everything. So what this method syntax is, this method is expecting a return type of future. So ultimately we are going to read the resource from the assets file. So it will not be a real-time process. It will going to have all these things in asynchronous way. So we are marking this function as async. So whenever you are marking any function as async, then you are expecting not the real-time object, not the real-time response. So that's why you have to edit future. So this is a standard syntax. If you know about Kotlin or JavaScript or any other language, there are many terminologies related to async await. Okay, so here what we are going to do is we are going to read it from local JSON, local assets. Okay, so let's first add await here. Why? Because we are awaiting the response. Okay, so this root bundle is automatically coming from services. So root bundle is, if you want to access something from resource assets, local assets, then you need to import this method. Okay, load string. Now it is asking us for, if you see the parameter string key, what key is required? Retrieve a string from the asset bundle. Okay, so this is one asset bundle. Here is our asset bundle. It is asking for the path of the file. So we'll be going to add assets and photos.json. Photos.json. Okay, now we have given the path. Now let's say we will be going to receive the JSON string. Let's say response, if we give the variable name. Okay, I will going to explain it. Okay, so now this is the very standard method. There is nothing any. So I want to explain this. So we have explained this. We are going to read it from JSON and we are going to decode it. So ultimately, whenever we are going to read it from JSON, and it so and when we want to use that JSON string in the UI part, like if I want to access something from that JSON, we can't directly get anything from that JSON. We have to first deserialize it. Okay, so JSON is a serialized format. When you want to actually convert that serialized object into deserialized, then you have to create a model classes, or being, if you are aware about Java, then you are already about a model classes or beans, Java beans. It's the same thing we are going to create. That is why it is necessary to decode it. If you know, if you check this JSON decode function, it gives you the explanation, parses the string and returns the resulting JSON object. Okay, it will parse the string and return you the object. From that object you can access any properties which are mentioned in the JSON. Okay, so now till here we have read the data. Now our objective is to display the list. So list of this string. So first, before going to next step, what we need to do is, for this assets, let's, if even if you copy this, we are going to create a model classes. Okay, so I have the extension installed. You can use any third-party tool, like here you can search JSON model, JSON string to Dart model. Okay, here you can, there are many utilities available for you, but I generally use this extension. Okay, so here I have to just click it. So I have to create the model class. Okay, so I can right click here. Why that terminal is not coming up? Let's see if this is installed or not. Send to Dart. Install this. This is just an extension. It will help you to convert this JSON to a model class. Okay, so here I have my plugin installed, JSON to Dart. So it will help me to generate a model class. Okay, so what I have to do is, I have to copy this and just have it, right click here or any of the folders, JSON to Dart from clipboard, because I have copied it. And here I have to mention the basic start of the default class, photos. So photos will be my root class, and all those entities will be placed inside photos. Okay, so let's press enter. It will ask you for some internal default settings. Equality operator, no. Immutable, no. You can add this if you want, but here I'm not going to add everything. Okay, so here it had created photos class. So let's try one more time. I don't think it had created photos class. No, 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 no. Okay, so now it has created a photos class. You can see how this model looks like. It is nothing but a representation of our JSON string into some objects. Okay, so we will be going to use these objects for converting those string response into a string into a map file. Okay, so our JSON is nothing but key value pairs. Okay, now our JSON is a key value pair, so this methods will going to give us the JSON object that we can use it in our UI. So here you can see till there, here this is going to read it, but now the actual use case of this model class will come here. Okay, model class will come here. Now how this model class will going to help us. Okay, now what we want is we have a list of photos. Now if we have a list of photos, then we have to ultimately create a list of photos here. From where this photos is coming, this is the same class which our plugin has provided us, list of photos. Let's see what is the name of class, photos. Okay, list of photos. Let's import this. Import this again. Okay, so it is giving us some error. Why? Because of null safety, it is not allowing us to create a empty or null operator. So we have to explicitly mark it as a null safe. Now here till here we have read the response and from the JSON and completely decoded it into a JSON format. Now we want to deserialize into the deserialize those objects. Okay, now here we are creating a temporary objects here, list of photos, all photos. So here we are getting data, here we are. I will just explain you first. Let me write this list of photos type. We have to add the generics here, dot from. So here it is expecting a iterable element. Okay, so to iterate, we are going to iterate on this complete data. So what is this expecting? Here you can write photo. Okay, photos dot from JSON photo. Let's break it down because it's going to too much. Data dot from data dot map. I think here we are missing something. Photos. Okay, so if I going to explain this, so this is what it is expecting. We have till now reached here data. Now we have to pass this data dot, we have to pass this as a iterable. So what it will do is it will go on this. If I show you the JSON file, it will go on iterating all of these individual entities and convert it into a deserialized serialized objects. Okay, so now our JSON object will be converting to type of this list of photos. Not, it will not be a list of JSON object. It will be converted here. All photos is converted into type of photos. Okay, if you heard about typecasting, then it is the same thing we are doing here. It's just this syntax will look heavy because we have combined all these things into a same map. But if you get this syntax, it is expecting a iterable. So we are just providing it iterable. Okay, this first parameter, if you see elements, so we are just providing it iterable. So here what we are telling the Flutter is to map every elements of the JSON response, every element of the JSON array. and then convert it into a appropriate type of object. So here our type is list of photos. Now here we have converted this list of photos. Now we just have to set the state. Okay, set state list of photos equal to all photos, right? So here we are done. Now we have pre-filled this. Now we have to call this, and if you want to see this, if our array is printed or not, you can print its length. List size list of photos dot length. Okay, now if you run this, let's keep it side by side. Okay, see, flutter size list size is 8. So 8 response are now into our into our list. So what we have done till now is we have read the JSON, converted that JSON into JSON schema, and then converted that JSON schema into type of our model class. So this is the standard format of how you read. Now let's quickly create a UI part. Okay, so here if you will ask that now reading is fine, but what next? So and the next part is how we can draw this UI. Okay, so here we can just quickly add the body part here. We are not going to add list view of, we are going to quickly use the list view dot builder. Why? Because we have already had the array and we just want to utilize that. Now list view dot builder is expecting item length, item count. So here we have to give list of all photos, list of photos dot length. Provide it with this, it will not give you error. Now item builder is a function. If you can see here, it expects a function, and that function expects a context as well as the index. So this index, through this it will iterate all over the elements and give you this okay. So here we are getting ready with the function. Now this builder, what it will do is it will iterate every items and create a UI for us. So here we are not going to create any special UI. Here we are going to use the widget provided by Flutter only. So it is list style. So in list style is a parent object. Now we will be going to cover list style. Is a very beautiful widget. If you can see here, it already provides list. I can show you how this looks like list. So this is one list style. Okay, if you can see the left side, this is a leading, this is a title, and this is the trailing part, and this is a subtitle. Okay, so we are going to create a similar thing with the help of this JSON response. Okay, so list style is here. Now we just add the leading part. What will be the leading part? Our leading part is something called circle avatar. We can take, it will draw our circle. Now just add a background color here. For now we can add colors dot blue. Okay, then add one child. Here we are going to use image, and I will show you why we are adding here list of photos of index dot see thumbnail URL. How we can access it? Because we have converted that JSON response into type of our own class. Okay, and here it is giving me error because it is a due to null check. I have added here that if this is null, then don't go ahead, don't access the thumbnail URL to avoid the crashing issues. Okay, now let's see how till now our UI is looking. See, our image color is loaded. Okay, now we have to add one more thing, like tile leading is added. Now we have the option of title. We are going to access the same list, text widget, and list of photos of index dot title. Add the question mark here so it doesn't give me any error. See, title is rendered automatically. Now to make it more beautiful, we can also add subtitle, or we just subtitle. I'm just showing you what basic things it can take. Okay, here you can test description or subtitle. See, it's automatically giving us the font styles. We can customize it and we can add trailing part also. For trailing, we just add an icon. Icons dot more vertical, we can say. Okay, see, we have read the JSON response and properly displayed it into a UI. So basic part was the reading of the JSON response. So I have taken time because this is the very important part. Once you have this parsing correct, understanding of this parsing correctly, then you can create any kind of UI. So this is our first part. Now the interesting part is the second part, where we are reading the JSON file. Okay, so for reading the JSON file, we need we will be going to utilize the same thing. Okay, just read it here. We will be going to utilize ultimately everything from here, just a minor change only. So just we are copying it everything from here to keep the video short. We are going to remote JSON. Okay, remote JSON, we are just replacing the state ones. Okay, so now only change will happen in this read state. Everything will be same. We just quickly import this. Auto input it. We at the init state, we just don't want to read it from the local JSON. Okay, read JSON from web. Just quickly rename this method, read JSON from web. Okay, so here only change will happen here. We don't want to read it from here. So to access or call the APIs, we need the HTTP libraries. Okay, if you check this flutter.dev, you have HTTP library here. Oh, sorry, pub.dev. I directly have searched it, so it directly giving me the option. So there is two ways to add this dependency. Either you can press this go button, command palette, and you can see add dependency. You can directly type here. The famous ones are already coming in suggestion. You directly save HTTP. Pub will run and it will automatically install the libraries. Here it will give you instruction how you can have to import this and how you have to get it. So we have to just use the get one. Okay, so just let's copy it here. Now we just have to go ahead and read the JSON from there. First we have to import it here. Okay, and then we just remove this and use the HTTP class. So await will be same. Here we are getting http.get. It is expecting a URL. So for this URL, we will use the same JSON placeholder API. We will not use slash here. We just use this one and come back here and paste it here. Okay. So it is not expecting, that is why it is giving me the error. It is not expecting a string response. It's a dynamic variable. We will add it here, response dot body. Oh, sorry, if you see here http.get part, we have to parse the URL or read the URL. We don't directly access this. Here it is expecting URI dot parse. Okay, and inside parse it is expecting a URL part. Import this response body. Now if you want to read this response, print this response, debug print API response data, not this way. And we have to call this method. It's already called, so just visit this read JSON. Oh, it's loaded from, I think there is, we need to change the routing. Read local remote JSON. Let's refresh this. Let's start this server. And on the main screen, if we go in, then it will give me the remote JSON. Okay, see, this is now getting read from the remote part. Everything is same. Why we don't need to add the model class? Because we already created the model class. So any API or anything which you, whatever you have the type of JSON request, your model class will automatically take shape like that. It's not a shape architecture, but this plugin is very useful if you want to go ahead and parse the JSON, because it will give you the proper model class in proper format with the minimum configuration. You can say with the minimum configuration, with minimum customization, you can parse the JSON and complete your work. Okay, so I hope you had to know this basic stuff of JSON parsing. There can be many other complexities as well depending on the structure of JSON. Here we have the root level only. You can have the other kind of array inside array or array inside object also. There can be many kind of structures or schema is possible inside JSON. So ultimately your model class will take shape like that. It will not be a fixed structure. So with the model class, I want to also explain you in the end that from JSON and to JSON is very important method. We ultimately call this factory methods to convert this. If you can see here, it is returning photos instance. Okay, so what it is going to do is, it is taking a response of array, and for every item it is going through inside it, mapping those values and mapping each of these values also. You can see key values. Okay, this is your input, and this is the deserialized constructor variables. You are not going to directly access the JSON variables, you are going to access these ones like we have access in the list view. Okay, we are not going to access directly the JSON object. We have used here, if you can see in the build, we have used the thumbnail URL. If you click on this, it will take you to here. We are not directly interacting with JSON. Why? Because it is already deserialized and converted into our custom type. So that is why this model class is very important. So I hope this video will give you enough knowledge about how the JSON parsing is there. So if you like this video, just give me a like or subscribe, or if you have any questions related to parsing, then please go ahead in the comment and I will be happy to reply it. So let's meet in the new video.